G'day and welcome everybody. Just going to wait for a few stragglers to come on. Very excited about today's session with Lynn. I'll introduce her very, very shortly. Also, you know, a lot of the theme with the clients we work on this quarter has been all about leverage. So for us to give you ideas on leverage, I think today's topic is perfectly suited for everyone on the call. I'm just going to wait for a few stragglers to come in. For those of you that are on the line, on the right-hand side on your screen, you'll see a little control panel. I just want you to, yes, that you can hear me nice and loud. Type in the control panel under notes or questions. Can you just put your hand up and say, I can hear you, or yes, everything's okay, just to make sure we do a sound check with everyone, please. So just those online, type in a yes in the question section on the right-hand side of your control panel. And I can see Cassie's got a hand up. And she's raised a question. Everything looks good. Good-o. All right, now, Lynn Padetti. I've known Lynn since, I don't know, 2009 or 10 or whatever. It's a long time ago, Lynn. Pre-children, pre all sorts of things. And I met Lynn through a current client at the time. She was married to him or about to be married to him. And when I was talking about web design, when I was talking about getting leverage into my business, your name popped up on so many occasions I couldn't ignore it. I know you've got your biggest fan is your husband, but you know, I wanted to check you out to see how you're going. And you know, we started talking. I wanted to know what it is you actually did. We started talking about virtual assistants, and in those days, I just wasn't ready. My brain couldn't switch on to giving tasks to someone on the other side or halfway around the world at a lower rate. All these objections came up in my head. I never really discussed them with you, but I know that people on the call today will probably be in the same boat. What the hell is a virtual assistant? Why would I outsource? So today we're going to explore that in kind of like an interview style. I want to get inside your head, understand this whole question, and then what we'll do is we'll open the floor up to questions for people out there that, you know, are in the same boat. So we're going to hold questions kind of till the end. If you just save them up, put them in, and we'll eventually give you plenty of time to answer plenty of questions. So, because I'm kind of thinking that of all of the session that we're going to go today through my interview style, we'll probably flesh most of those questions out anyway. So Lynn, welcome to the call. Thanks for taking the time to speak to the crew today. How are you going?
Very good, thank you, Simon. Thanks for having me.
Sensational. So can you give us a quick, I don't know, thumbnail sketch on the background of the industry, what the hell's a VA, who uses them, some of the trends, so we can all get our head around this whole idea of trying to get some sort of competitive advantage and reduce our cost in labour, or reduce our cost or get us more productive. Give us the heads up.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, outsourcing and offshore outsourcing in particular is not new. It's been, you know, big companies been doing it for many, many years, mainly through manufacturing. But obviously, through the recent times in the 1990s, when the computer technology starts to improve and the internet's around, that's when we saw a surge in companies, small and large, who are able to you know, post a job online, get applicants from all over the world to apply for a job. So it's just really quick access to be able to outsource or get offshore staff to work for you. So there are sites like Odesk, Elance. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have heard of it, and they are the platforms that allow the buyer and the seller, so an employer like yourself, to be able to post a job up, and all the people from overseas, the global, you know, everyone from every country can see the jobs that they want to apply for. They apply it within minutes, and you get it. You get to see all the job applicants, past reviews, and so it just makes the recruitment of these overseas people a lot easier, and hence we see more and more people outsourcing.
Right, so that's kind of job specific, right? If I need someone to design a logo or write up an operations manual or do some data entry, or, you know, just really simple stuff, we can post that job online, people bid for it, and then away we go. Is that what you're talking about, that level of outsourcing?
Yes, so those platforms are really great for project-based, like you said. However, there are other platforms, for example, onlinejobs.ph, which is specifically for the Filipinos, where you can hire them full-time. There's just so many platforms out there now, specifically for different types of staff that you're after, whether it's full-time or project-based. But even the Destiny lands that I mentioned, you can hire them full-time. Yeah, it's basically up to you how you want to. It's just a job platform, whether you're looking
Yeah,
for.
I remember, using Fiverr or Odesk, I think it was .com, to redesign a website back out of HTML into WordPress, or designing a new logo for my business, and you post the job online. It's quite cool. People bid for it, and you don't have to take the lowest bid, but that's a really cool marketplace in its own right if you just want project-driven stuff. So tell me about, if I really want to hone in now on this whole concept of hiring a virtual assistant. I was thinking on the way here today, why are they virtual? Because they're not in my office, but they are real people. I think of a virtual assistant as a cartoon at the back end of this, a computer thing, but it's not. It's an offshore assistant or an overseas assistant at some level. Tell me, how does outsourcing like this, how's it going to save me time? How's it going to save me money? How do I get my head around it?
Okay, so assuming you've got a lot of repetitive tasks, you almost need like a personal assistant slash marketing assistant. That's where a virtual assistant is perfect for your business. And so yeah, to hire a virtual assistant, you basically, there's platforms out there that you can tell exactly what you're after. Whether you need to identify, obviously, in your business, like, what sort of tasks you want to outsource, because you want to make sure that they have experience in it, so you don't have to spend a lot of time training on that particular task. But in general, they are smart and fast learners. They're good enough to be able to get you to train them on your business process and tools anyway. But a virtual assistant, for example, in the Philippines, you're saving a lot of cost, because their average minimum wage in the Philippines is about $300-$400. Obviously, the higher salary means the better the VAs are. But let's just say if a really good VA for $1,000, that's equivalent to like $200 a week, which you cannot get a VA from Australia to do that. And so, yeah, VAs from the Philippines are really great in that the cost is cheap. Their English skill is incredible, because the Philippines is actually the third largest English-speaking country in the world, and
Wow,
they say that.
In fact, I didn't know.
Yeah, and they say 75% of its people actually speak fluent English. So they're really beating the Indians as well, because obviously, if you've heard their accent, they're like American accent sort of thing as well, so it's easy to understand. And another interesting facts is that they call them the social media capital of the world. Filipinos spend 53 hours a week on social networking sites, so 11 hours more than global average.
I heard an interesting stat the other day, Lynn, that there are 500,000 university graduates coming out every single year.
Yes.
Out of the Philippines.
Yep, yeah, I can imagine so. So what I find with hiring Filipino VAs is that they're already knowledgeable in the IT department, in the online marketing department. They probably have already worked for clients, in the US or in Australia, and helping them all around the sort of online business space. And every business nowadays, whether you're traditional or not, you do have an online internet sort of aspect to your business, which they're perfect for it, because obviously you can't get them to do any physical work. You can only do things that can be done virtually, remotely, which is online or internet. Yeah.
They could be a remote assistant then, couldn't they? Hey, you mentioned their minimum wage was $300 to $400. Is that a week, a month? What does that work out?
That's a month. Sorry, I didn't clarify. Yep, that's a month.
Wow, so minimum wage is $300 to $400 a month. I assume that's US dollars, right?
Yeah, you can still get people like willing to work for Australian dollars, $300. But that's the average. There's some people who are just out of uni, and obviously they would work for any money. And obviously you don't get the same experience as if you get the more experienced but higher paying one. But
Okay, so we're looking at leverage. We've got the skill set, we've got the degrees, we've got the English, we've got the technology skills. Got it. So next slide, Billy.
Yep.
The question would be, why a virtual assistant? Now, the sort of thing I hear people say, I'm super busy, already keeping ahead of the curve. What I don't hear them saying is things like, I do sort of low-value tasks and I kid myself that I'm actually busy. I see a lot of business owners doing their bookwork at night, you know, data entry stuff because it's outside hours and the kids are asleep, and they're, you know, it's sometimes maybe they're in this position that they're not a control freak, but they maybe can't trust anyone to do it as well as what they might do. So all of these things are kind of out there. What's the reasons why people hire a VA? Give me some real nitty-gritty stuff here.
I think when you start to get so stressed and you realize that you alone in your business just cannot get the work done, and obviously your happiness level is being affected. But people like us who are entrepreneurs or business owners, where we set up a business to work smart, to enjoy life, not to sort of work hard and not get the benefit out of the business. So how I get to people to realize how much money and time they're wasting is by actually working out. For example, if you're set out, just say you're a coach and you usually charge clients $100 an hour. And if you work out all the tasks that you've been doing in your business, like, I don't know, updating website, emailing, any of those things that a normal assistant of, like, just say a $20 assistant in Australia could have done it for you, and you work out how many hours you've been spending a day, and if the people haven't really got any staff, you would assume they're spending like 8 hours at least a day doing these things. And if you time 8 hours times $100, that's $800 worth. And if you could outsource it for just say $10 an hour, think about how many hours you're saving and how much money you actually save. And it's not just that. So now that you're free with that time, you can actually spend time focusing on growing the business. So there is no other way to grow your business to make more money if you don't outsource. Is the way I see it.
The two biggest issues that people have is time and money, and if we can, by working with an organisation or someone that does the whole VA thing for me, I can save both. That's cool. I guess I was speaking with Lynn just before we started the session today, and I told her a story. I was about to make a presentation in front of 100 vehicle dismantling companies from all over Australia and New Zealand. And the organiser came up to me and said, "Hey, Shai, in your presentation, you're not going to be covering off anything about virtual assistants today." I said, "Well, actually, no, but why would you say that?" He goes, "Oh, look, they're my secret. They're my secret in the business that gives me the advantage over everyone else in this industry." I said, "Well, how does that work? How on earth what would a VA do in a dismantling business?" He said, "Well, when someone rings up with a part requirement and we don't have one, we don't have stock of what's available in around. We've got to do the ring around. We ring around all of our mates, all businesses, anyone we know we can find as part from a 1985, V8 Commodore, what it is. And we used to employ a whole bunch of people here locally to do that at an exorbitant, normal rate." He said, "What we've done now is we've used those people in different parts of our business because it's growing so fast, and we've given that job, that task, that low-value task, to a team of 8 or 9 or 12, I think he said, virtual assistants." So he said, "Well, I haven't sacked people. I've just moved them in different parts of my business and had the lower value tasks conducted by someone else." And that's what his secret advantage was in his business. So I would never have thought that would be the case as a part dismantler. So tell me, typically, Lynn, what sort of tasks, if I go to the next slide there, Billy, what sort of tasks are these people capable of?
Okay, so I mean, if you could think of anything that could be done by someone, like someone virtually, then it's all can be done by a VA. So things like customer service, whether it's email support, we've got clients that use VAs to do calling support, so call support, calling up leads, calling clients for customer service sort of related queries. They can help you with your personal emails and work emails, scheduling your appointments. When it comes to social media, they can help you managing your Facebook and all your social networking sites. Obviously, there's just so many social networking sites now. Yeah, it's really time-consuming trying to find trending posts and interesting posts, and then trying to schedule it. Not to mention, you get your fans communicating with you, but if you're not there to reply back, then it's really not an effective social site. So they are there to help you manage all that. Obviously, everyone's got a website, and if you need to update any articles and news, they can help you with that. They are great with content writing as well. Obviously, if you feel that you need to make sure it's in perfect Australian English, you can always get them to do the research, write it up perfectly for you first, and you just do a minor edit and before you allow them to post it. Anything to do with web research, like maybe doing competitor analysis, checking out what other people are charging or doing. I've used my VAs to help me book flights for myself, accommodation, booking restaurant. So because even whether it's personal or business, it's still going to take me a lot of time. So you look at them as your assistant. You've got access to them to be able to help you with anything, not just all business related.
It's almost like going back in time when you see an executive that had a PA that made them look good. We're going back in time in a way, because we got rid of all those sort of roles years and years and years ago, and we ended up doing our own word processing because we could type our own letter on our own computer without having someone else in the typing pool do it. We write our own emails these days. It's become less and less formal with letters getting written, but that means we've taken on the task that we used to outsource anyway. So we're kind of, not that we're going back in time, but we're now with technology able to do the same things and leverage ourselves out of those low-end tasks. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And cool. They can learn all your CRM systems, help you update content on data entry work. So yeah, just unlimited amount of tasks that you can give to them.
And I use a VA as well, as most people know on the call, but the thing I found a little bit awkward was giving this person personal access to my emails, logons and passwords to my email account, credit card details, and those sort of things. And that comes through trust, and it comes through the organisation you work with as well. So how do we get over that trust issue of letting things go like that?
Well, I think it just takes time. I mean, even if you hired someone locally, you wouldn't just trust them and give them your bank details from day one. But obviously, it just takes time to work with them and really know their personality inside out. And you can give them the details. I mean, I've got my VAs know, well, not all of them, obviously. I trust the particular one person. He's got access to my credit card, payment details, but it's because we've developed a relationship for the past 4 or 5 years, and so don't look at it any different than if you're needing to trust someone locally. Yeah.
With anyone, yeah. Just in terms of other tasks, I've got an electrical contracting firm that uses a VA to do a whole bunch of stuff, but they now, through Xero, have full access to do all the invoicing, to do all of the, turn quotes into jobs and all sorts of wonderful things. Plus they do you mentioned the customer service call. They ring the client 2 days later, and they say they're ringing from XYZ, electrical company, just checking to see that the job is okay. But we didn't have the resources to do that before. Now we do, and it's kicked up a whole bunch of really good feedback, which we can put on our Facebook or wherever else. Again, the more I delve into this, the more I see the validity of getting rid of low-value tasks. And sometimes it took me a long time to get my head around that. Okay. Yes. So if I get the concept of VA, someone who's in a different country to me, but who's my right-hand man or woman, I understand there's a bucket load of tasks that we can slowly, hand over. How does that handover process work? And that's the next slide, Billy. What's the process for giving tasks to a VA? How do I know they're not sitting there, doing nothing? I don't want to, be a big brother and ask them to punch in, punch out, but how do I do that?
Yeah, so I think the most effective way to approach this is actually document down your full process within your business from when you're marketing and getting leads to actually delivering the product or service to the client. Because we had our client recently we had a client who hired a VA, and they were too busy and just giving them ad hoc tasks, and then so the VA was sort of doing tasks here and there and sometimes not busy. So what we got them to do, which became a lot more effective, is actually run through the whole process steps from their business, and then looking at each of those steps and process, marking down which ones that they need to do versus the ones that an assistant can do. And then also looking at the tasks that are like, for example, project-based. For example, if you need to do a redesign, you're planning to do a redesign of your website, then that's considered as a project-based, and you can, outsource it separately. But if there's any routine sort of tasks like updating content or updating the client's detail in the CRM, then they would mark that as a VA sort of task. So then what happens is when you've got the VA there and you give them the whole process of the business, they actually get to understand where they fit in as well. So not only have they been able to find so many tasks for them to do that you didn't realize before, it also allows the VA to understand, okay, I'm doing about 15 out of these 20 tasks, and this is where I fit in, where the tasks fit in. And so that's how I would start to pass the task to the VA.
So yeah, good one. Good. So project stuff is, hey, can you I don't know, pretty this document up and put our logo on it and update it with the new pricing, and that's just a little project, versus ongoing tasks of diary, calendar management, sales process, whatever it may be. That's a very good distinction. But I look at another way to look at it is if you went down your daily to-do list, I get clients to put a red pen next to the stuff that's costing them money, the green pen next to the stuff that's making them money, and an orange, color versus ones like, really, why am I doing this task? So it should be not a to-do, but a to-don't. So it's the stuff that you can look down your daily activity on your to-do list or your default diary, whatever it is you're doing. How can I get someone else to do this? Which means I've got a sign or a process to it. I just can't say, can you do this? You've got to design the steps out for it. So it's in a way, it's forcing you to systemize the business to the point where you can delegate this task, and it doesn't have to be someone sitting in your office. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. It's just that sometimes when you're doing a daily to-do list, you just do things that aren't even important in your business or not even necessary. So I guess, I love your idea as well. I think it's good to actually look, go through your business, the complete business system and process, so that you actually identify what you actually need to do for the business, versus, because sometimes your to-do lists aren't, like, they're just random things that come up out of nowhere that aren't really related to the business much yet. But yeah, definitely love that. Yeah.
Sometimes I look at the things, I said, oh yeah, I'll get around to that, I'll do that one day, I'll get there someday, and I've parked them because I just don't have the time to get to it. But now all of those things are being flushed out. Do you, the other thing I do is a project management tool I use called Trello. I assume you've heard of Trello?
Yeah, I have heard of Trello, yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's not a time card system, but it's a mechanism by, my VA's name's Reggie, and we can look at Reggie's and see what his activities are during the day, if he's getting slow or not, or getting more work than he can get through. So it's like a little project management tool that enables me. The first thing I used to do was check how much time does it take him to do that? What is he doing? Because I don't sit there over his shoulder, but this is a way, once I got comfortable that he wasn't there shirking or doing things or, taking too long to do things, once I was comfortable with that, but this is the thing that allowed me to do it, was to have, was it Trello, for example? I'm sure there's other ones. It's free, no cost to it.
Yeah, that's right.
I found that as a really useful tool to allocate jobs and then, track time stuff as well. It's really cool. Plus, I think they can do screenshots of what they're doing at any one time if they need to or want to, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When you work with a VA, because you're going to be assigning a lot of tasks, emails will not do the job, and it will get confusing, and they'll miss the task. You definitely need to implement a project management tool such as Trello to help manage all the tasks and track what's done and not done. Yeah, completely agree.
All right, so assume I've got my head around the concept. I've now got my head around what tasks and projects this person can do. How do I go about hiring one? What's the process? Next slide, thanks, Billy.
Yeah. Okay, so when hiring a VA, obviously, with many platforms out there, they allow you to see, you know, the rating like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, with, you know, past work experience, the jobs that they've done, as well as feedback from the past employers. But obviously, you know, just assuming that you like them and you're up to the interview stage and you want to interview them, what I actually look for, apart from their core skills, just say you're after a content writer, you definitely want to make sure that you've read a sample of their work and you like the content piece. However, what I really look for more for a VA is more of their soft qualities. So the soft qualities that I care about more is for things like, do they do what they say? So, you know, when they said they're going to turn up online for the interview, are they like 5 minutes early or are they 5 minutes late? Because at the beginning, you should not be lenient at all, because if they can't even perform well before you hire them, there's a high risk or high chance that they will not perform at all when you're with them. So never sort of tolerate excuses at the beginning. So, for example, if you said to them, you know, send me some sample work before the interview, and they quickly are able to send it to you on time, versus you chasing up going, oh, you haven't sent it to me. Those are the signs that you know that they're not right. Now, the other thing, another quality is like willing to learn. So often you might be asking them, oh, you know, are you familiar with this tool? Are you familiar with this skill set? And they would be like, you know, no, I'm not familiar with it, but I'm happy to, you know, to learn it. Or they even go away and start training themselves, and the next time you have a chat with them, they already briefed themselves on what it is. So it just shows, you know, the attitude to wanting to learn and to prove themselves. And they don't go and talk about money straight away. They just want to prove. They sometimes even said, how about I write you a sample piece of articles that you could assess it yourself. So, you know, that shows that they're interested in the job and not so worried about the money. Another thing is, you know, how regularly they update you, because when you work with someone remotely, the communication is so important. And if they constantly update you, for example, saying like, okay, yep, I got your email with the interview time, I'll be online, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll be like, hi, you know, I'm online now, just letting you know that I'm ready to go. So it's just, I know it sounds like, it's like, I don't know, baby micromanaging, but it's like when they constantly update you, you actually know before hiring them that they care and they want you to know every step of the way. And you need that when you work with a remote person. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So it's an interesting concept, this whole thing, because now I'm interviewing someone not even in my office, they're offshore. You mentioned there's a couple of recruitment platforms. Just so people know, what are the sort of platforms?
So if you're after project-based, I recommend using sites like Odesk. They have a lot of high quality, you know, when I say VA, I say more like if you're after a logo, you can put a logo up and get a logo designer, you know, hired to do that particular job. I think that's a perfect platform for that sort of thing. And then if you're after, you know, full-time Filipino staff, for example, there's a site called onlinejobs.ph. Now, both of these platforms and with every other platform, it can be quite time-consuming and sort of daunting when you're first using it, because I remember when I first posted a job on Odesk years ago, like within minutes I had so many applicants and I was like overwhelmed with them, and I didn't know what I was looking for, so I was choosing the cheapest guy, and you know, and they promised me the world but they didn't deliver. So it sort of takes time to get used to using these systems and getting used to. Yeah.
I could totally imagine. So I've just posted onlinejobs.ph up on there in the chat section. Got a question that's come in. At what level of turnover would a typical business hire a VA? I said we'll wait till the end, but since you've got the question up, we may as well answer it now. So what level of staffing or what level of turnover do you reckon it would be okay to engage a VA? First question, well, my answer would be a single operator can hire one because they can get out and go. Almost any size business should consider this process, right, Len?
Yes, definitely. Even if you're a startup and you haven't really made a lot of money yet, but you really need to, if you're consumed in doing the daily tasks and operational tasks, you cannot grow the business, go out there, network, and you know, get clients. You really need that support from day one, and you need to look at it as an investment, because yes, it seems as if you don't have money to spend, but that money is more of an investment, and you will see that you'll attract more time and money than, yeah, if you
got it. And the second question in there was, how much time does it take to train a VA?
Yeah, so I mean, if you were to go out and did that yourself, you know, and not knowing how to work with the VA, it can be time consuming, but there's services out there that can help you, you know, work with them effectively. And if you find the right person already, there's not much training to do, because, for example, if you know for a fact that you want them to spend a lot of time doing social media, a lot of time doing working on a particular task, and you've already hired someone with that experience, then there's very small, like, you don't need to really train them. But you know, if you just, if you don't recruit the right person, then there will be a lot of training involved.
Yeah, sure.
And
so
then,
there's a really good, you need to, and the more time you invest, the better. I assume you've got an onboarding process that you would with any employee. You know, you induct them, you train them, and depending upon the task, you know, you could do a couple of hours a day, or you could schedule it for as long as you need it, right?
yes,
It's kind of a piece of string question almost.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to look at your time training them as an investment as well. You know, like once you've trained them well, then they will be your right-hand woman or man, and you can, you know, leave all the tasks to them and not have to worry. But if you constantly think, oh, it will take me too long to train, I'd rather do it myself, you'll be caught up in the same position, and you'll never get out of that same position. Yep.
Okay, so next slide, Billy talks about the advantages. I think we've kind of covered that. Cost is a big one. There's no overtime or weekend kind of rates as well.
Yes.
They've kind of got the experience. They are, I'm gonna say the biggest advantage would be their eagerness.
Yeah.
They're just, I just love the fact that they're eager, and this is one of those soft qualities again. You know, turning up on time, doing the proactive homework on stuff, and you know, poking and prodding you, think, I've just done this thing, what do you reckon? You know, that's a real big advantage. It's kind of a whole level of energy in the business that, you know, you don't pay for, but you get as a result, right?
Yeah, I find Filipino workers in particular, they're really hardworking, and they just treasure a stable job. So they've just got, all they want is a happy workplace that they know the employer will keep paying them, and that's the only thing that keeps them, that they need to keep them motivated. Whereas I think if you sometimes having local employees, they can become more demanding. They want to get promoted without even proving themselves. Whereas working with VAs from Philippines so far, I rarely get anyone saying, "Hey, Lynn, I think I need a pay rise." You know, they're just happy that they've got a job and you look after them well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the eagerness side of things. It's just in their DNA. You know, they're amazing family people. They work to support themselves and their families, and it's just a lovely, warm culture too. So next slide, Billy. How do I know we've covered off a little bit of this. How do I work with a VA? What's the process?
Yeah, sure. So I've first of all, in terms of communication, there's some softwares and tools. I mean, softwares and tools are very vital in how we can work with the VA. So, for example, in terms of communication tools, I use Skype. That allows me to type chat, voice chat, video chat. And it's free. I also, most of them now, I mean, all of them have a smartphone now, and they can download apps like WhatsApp, which allows you to text for free. So there isn't any cost with dealing with an overseas person, whereas in the past, you know, overseas calls and text is expensive, whereas now it's all free. So I can even, when I'm on the road, I can even send them a voice message with WhatsApp. And then, you know, now recently I've actually been adding them on my Facebook as well, because it's just another channel to message them when I'm not on Skype, or when they're not, somehow if they're not on WhatsApp, they're most likely on Facebook. And obviously you can still do the traditional calling them and emailing them. And then in order to work with them, like we mentioned before, we definitely need a project management tool of some sort in order to manage all those tasks. Otherwise, the task gets lost. So in terms of how to work with the VA, those are the softwares and tools. But the next step you need to do is you need to brief them on your company's process so that they understand why they do what they do and how they fit in. And then make sure that you start to assign small tasks first, making sure that they do that well before you add more tasks. But then at the same time, don't be afraid to give them a lot of tasks, because you want to test their multitasking skills. You want to make sure to know that they can organize themselves and work under pressure and can work fast because of the workload that you've given them. So in a way, start small, but don't be afraid to move fast with them.
Yeah, we sent Reggie across a whole bunch of documents to put into Business Basecamp and our resources center, and just to make them all look and feel the same way. And does the first couple, and then at the end of the day, he says I've put 133 documents in today. Now,
yep.
Anyone else on this side of the ditch, Billy, for example, gets 101 phone calls a day. There's no way she'd get to that level of productivity. This person's just so focused on one task, and the phone doesn't ring in the background, and no one's tapping them on the shoulder asking them out for coffee. It's just amazingly focused work.
Yeah, awesome. The other tips I could give you is, as an employer, when you give them so many tasks, you need to help them by prioritizing the tasks as well. So you need to advise them the deadline for the tasks, because, if you give them all 10 things, they don't know which ones are important and urgent. So you need to identify that in order to set the expectations right. Because often it's not really the VA's fault or employer's fault. It's just really misunderstanding and not setting the right expectation.
I've worked with, I'll call them Asian people before, and oftentimes when you're talking with them, the answer is always yes. Can you do yes? But the reality is they're saying yes because they don't know how to say no. And I set that expectation up with Reggie, right up front. I said, mate, if I'm giving you a task and you don't know how to do it, what would you say? He goes, I'd put my hand up and ask a question. And I just wanted to really make sure that wasn't going to be an issue. So how you work with a VA, software tool like Trello, assign simple tasks, manage deadlines, have a good onboarding process, induct them, all the rest of it. That's just like any other employee, right? There's no real difference.
Yeah.
Cool, eh? Cool. What, next slide, what could go wrong? How could this all fall over? What are some of the pitfalls?
Yeah, sure. Well, if you haven't got your business process defined and you're just randomly throwing them tasks, you'll start to realize, you'll find that, I don't really need a VA anymore because I don't even have any tasks for them. But that's not really the case. It's because you haven't actually took time out to define your process and your to-do list to give them the tasks that they can do. And other issues that I find is some people actually find it so difficult to delegate. Like, I love delegating. I love getting someone else to do my stuff. But some people actually find it hard to just give someone else work. And I think it's just, you need to get started slowly. If you never really enjoy delegating or know how to delegate, you just have to start small, like start delegating some small tasks, get it done. And as you start to see the production and things getting done without you doing it, you'll start to enjoy the process and it becomes a habit of delegating.
Got it.
Yeah, and some people think, it only takes me 5 minutes to do it, so I might as well do it myself. But every 5 minutes if you add up the 5 minutes times the 10 tasks that you've done, that's an hour worth of your time already. So you've got to stop thinking like that. The lucky thing for me is I don't really have any technical skills. Like, I don't like doing anything to do with the website. I don't like getting into the detail of social media. So I just find it so easy to delegate. But some people who are talented, like they might be they might have website skills or graphic design knowledge. They might think, I'll just design this myself. I'll just do this quickly. But those many decisions to do it themselves equals a lot of time wasted.
I'm just giggling in the background here because even though I have a VA, sometimes I sit there and go, I could just do this. I've got to stop myself. I physically have to stop myself because I know I can do it. But then that's 5 minutes I could have been doing. I could have been following up a client or, it's just exactly the same things. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yes, you really have to get out of that. And I guess so all these things I'm listing is more around the employer side, but I'll explain a bit about how it could go wrong with the VA as well. So with the employer side, it's like being impatient. It's like you expect them, it's like you're hiring an angel. You expect them to come in and know everything from day one. You really need to realize that they are human. They're new. It's like a new friend. You need to get to know them. You need to be patient and teach them your business process and task. And obviously, just look at it like a relationship with anyone. The more time and love and support you give them, the more you're going to get out of it. But if you treat them bad and treat them like, just some slave that came in to do the dirty work for you, then you're not going to get the same respect and loyalty as you would if you treat them like a local employee that came in to help you with your business. So just because they are cheaper to hire doesn't mean that they are not valuable to your business. And I think if you're going to spend a lot of time training them, you might as well really treasure that relationship and do it right from day one with them.
Sure.
And I guess from the VA side of things, there tends to be a high chance of miscommunication and misunderstanding. It's mainly because if you don't explain to them what you need done, why you need it done, and by when, and if you throw them a new task and don't explain that, hey, this task is more important, can you stop the other one and do it after? It's just about setting things really clear for them that they cannot make a mistake. And so yeah, it's the whole misunderstanding thing that could go wrong with them. But to combat that, you just have to be even more clearer. And if you follow my tip of showing them the whole business process and letting them see how they fit in, it will help them with with their production, with the productivity, the way they work, because they just understand it more. Because sometimes if they don't understand why they're doing it and how they fit in, they just can't do the job right as you expect. Obviously, other things that's out of their control sometimes could be internet, electricity interruption. Often in these countries, there's some blackouts here and there, but it doesn't happen every day, and it doesn't happen all day. I often just get them to make up the hours that they've missed, and as long as they're respectful and they let you know that, okay, I've got internet interruption, I'll log on when the internet's back. And then when they log on, they said, I'm back, and then they still make up the time, then it's really not an issue.
Yeah, it's not a huge run, is it really? So that's what can go wrong from both my side communicating and inducting, whatever, and from their side, all overcomeable, nothing major. Next slide, Billy, what are the options now and Roger's asked a question about a particular job role for a medical receptionist, I think in receptionist in any company, but what are the options if someone wanted to go out and do this? How would they go about, we've already mentioned Fiverr and Odesk and onlinejobs.ph. What's the process? What are my options?
Well, yeah, so the first option is doing it yourself, which is going out there, recruiting yourself, and then interviewing them and training them. Or there is another way, which I run a business called Outsourcing Angel, and we understand the problems of outsourcing. So what we do is we actually help recruit you the perfect VA for the job that you're after. So we take that process away from you, and then we help to transition your task over to them at the beginning and help you train them up to the way you want them to be, and we sort of stay in the process for as long as you want to, until the client's happy to deal with them directly. So that there's sort of two options. One is do it yourself, and one is with an agency help like myself.
Okay, so it's no different to here. I can put an ad in the paper for myself and hire someone locally, or I can use a recruitment agency. I think the difficulty, the advantages of going on your own is obviously there's cost issues, it's cheaper maybe. The advantages of going through an organisation like you would be that you take some of the guesswork out of the whole process and make my life a lot easier. So what does an agency do that I can't do myself?
Well, if you were to recruit yourself, you would have gone through what I went through 5 years ago, which was, inundated with all these applicants, not knowing who to choose. And so I spent a lot of time trying to find the perfect person. But not only that, when I hire the wrong people, it wasted a lot of my money as well. So that's where an agency is there to protect you. In a way, you're hiring the agency and the agency hires the VA. So you sort of, in a way, don't have to worry about the VA side, because you can blame the agency and say, okay, I don't like this VA anymore. I want another VA. and they will find another VA. Yeah.
Right. So you take a lot of the hack work out, and we'll find, you'll, I don't know, shortlist people. You'll maybe do some pre-interviews, or how's that work?
Yes, exactly. So we do we interview them. We make sure that they are suitable for the role. At the beginning, because you're not sure how to communicate with them, we sort of be the middleman and communicate, like hearing what you need, passing on to them, and facilitate the process and recommend tools and software that you need depending on your business and how you want to work with them. So
yeah, good. So we pay you, for example, and you pay them. You take all of that, all those issues out as well, yeah?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we've covered a fair amount of ground today.
Yes.
It's taken a little bit longer than I expected, but there's all good stuff here, I think it's highly relevant. I took way too long to get my head around it. I thought, why would I bother? As soon as we jumped in, and this was, I don't know, a year or so ago, it was about this time last year, we got the first VA. She's gone off to have a baby in the meantime, and that's cool, growing a family. She's growing another VA, I suppose. And then I had a month or two without a VA, and I realized, oh my God, what am I doing sitting here at 6 o'clock at night doing stuff that I don't need? I'd rather be at home with my family. So I've done the without one, with one, without one, now I'm with one again, and it's an education, it's a learning process, and I still don't think, Lynn, that I've got this nailed yet. After a year of doing this, I still think that there's more and more I could give this person because they're so capable, but they're learning all the time, they're smart, and as I say, the one thing I love about it is that they're eager to please. And I'll never forget when I first spoke to him, I think, my first VA, she kept calling me sir. And you don't have to call me sir. And then she used some, yes, your highness or something. She thought, rather than going, okay, I'll call him mate, then she went up the ranks, yes, your highness. I was like, what? Where did that come from? But these people are so eager to please and so happy. And that's just, it's refreshing in so many ways. So, Len, I'm going to open the floor up to questions, and usually we go really quiet here before people, slightly the flood of questions to come. But what sort of questions do you get that you find most that we haven't already covered? Len.
Okay. Yeah, I think some people who come to me and said, oh, why should I use you when I could just go to, those platforms and do it myself. I welcome them too, because I know that everyone, or including myself, experience a lot of hard time trying to learn this outsourcing thing, because it's just like a new ball game. It's like trying to learn a new skill, learning how to, like for example, learning how to do Google AdWords really well. You can probably Google AdWords, you can probably set up in a campaign yourself, but how effective and getting the results is a difference. So outsourcing itself is a different ball game. If you want to do it right, and if you just want to focus on getting things done for your business, then trying to learn it by yourself can be time consuming, and yes, I recommend people doing it the easier way, which is dealing with us.
I totally get it, and we're not here to promote you necessarily, but at the same time, the concept behind doing it yourself or hiring someone, not that you're cutting corners, but you're just taking shortcuts to do it the right thing. So the answer to your question, Roger, by using Len will be outsourcing. Yeah, effectively you will, because she'll run that for you. She'll be your single point of contact to make the recruitment process work beautifully.
Yeah. So in a way, you're outsourcing to me, and my job is to outsource to the VA, the right VA. Yeah. Yeah.
So your Outsourcing Angel is quite an appropriate name, huh?
Yes.
And I've posted the link up there. Good question, Roger, again. He's a very active young man on the call today. What does it cost to typically hire? I mean, a piece of string, I could hire someone at $300 a month or $2,000 a month. What's it going to cost me to hire a great VA?
I don't want to promote myself at all, but I just wanted to explain. So with our service, you're looking at $8 or $9 an hour. So it's still very cheap. Not as cheap as if you wanted to go directly, but obviously we have to add our time to help you recruit and project manage, and you know, we still have clients after 3 months coming back to us with some problem, not because of the performance, but more about, you know, they just need some more ideas on how to work with the VA more efficiently. So it's still very affordable compared to, also under $10 compared to if you're hiring someone from here. And often I actually find it quite hard to find VAs from Australia with the online marketing skills and knowledge. And it's not just the price, it's actually finding them ready to go to help you with all these online work that the Filipinos seem to already have the experience, whereas a lot of Australians, they work the usual job. If you want them experience in digital marketing, they're probably on $100,000 a year or something. So yeah.
So sort of $300 to $350 a week is about what you see, yeah.
So 300, 250, 300, yeah.
Yeah, got
a week.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so there's no more questions. What I'm going to do is wrap it up. Huge thanks, Lynn. Really appreciate your time today, your openness, honesty, and sharing. And as I go back to the original reason for this call, was to how do I build leverage in my business to get my time back from doing low-value tasks and to reduce my costs in my business. So you answered that beautifully. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And again, this will be recorded, put on site. So to finish up, thanks very much, Lynn.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you, bye.
Bye.